You total plonker.
Who?
You.
You dingbat.
You absolute wazzock.
You dipstick.
You complete and utter knob jockey.
You nana.
You twit.
You twat.
You Burke.
You
Aegis.
bothersome boy.
You utterly redundant nostril hair.
And so on.
So there we go.
There is a reason that we are saying all of that.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about those insults that apparently Gen Zers just don't even know what the word plonker means. And it's weird.
Well, I mean, I don't know what plonker means, but it's the essence of the word, isn't it?
No, but I was literally in the car.
Anything.
The fact that this story has popped up is so funny because I was in the car with one of our kids and they said, what does plonker mean?
Well, listen, you say, you plonker. What do you think it means?
It's the sound of a shit landing in the toilet.
Oh, is it?
What are you looking at there?
No, that's a plopper that you've got a spot.
Where?
Other side.
But you were looking here.
Darling.
No, I know I've got a spot. Look.
You're unmirrored.
Was that an insult?
I don't know.
I've never been unmirrored.
But anyway, so the difference
Yeah.
between the generational insults is quite funny, actually.
It is.
So when we say plonker, what would be the equivalent for a Gen Zer?
Well, we'll find out. We'll find out.
No, let's do it now.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I can tell you what well, I don't know if they've got very good words, if I'm honest. Sorry, Gen Zers.
I don't think they have either.
No.
See, I love Nitwick and Bert. And Bert.
Yeah, they prefer terms like you Karen, which I get.
I don't like that because what about all the people that are called Karen?
Yeah, sorry, Karen, if there is a
No,
Karen.
I mean, I really don't like. I mean, the thing is, it has become, what's it called? What's it called when you have a different language?
Urban myth?
No.
Urban dictionary?
No, dictionary.
Urban slang.
It's such a huge part of the Urban Dictionary now. You say a Karen and everyone knows exactly what you mean. But I just think I would never use it because I feel sorry for people called Karen.
Whenever it's Karen Rogers.
Oh, there you go.
Like
Karen, how does it feel?
I always think that. I think for any Karens, it must be really annoying. Really annoying.
I don't think you can take one name.
Karen McMullen. Look, all the Karens are coming through now. Thank you, Karen. Karens get a hard time.
Karen.
Sorry, Karen.
Karens, we love you. Karens, we do. I think you need to reappropriate your name.
Let's have a look at some of the other ones that they. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. It's not nice, is it?
It's not nice.
So hang on. So research has shown that it's no longer fashionable to use certain words. With who? It's not fashionable with young people.
No, fashionable, not allowed.
So 62% of people under the age of 28 had never heard of the word lummox.
Actually, that isn't used so much anymore.
It's great.
It's a great word.
You know
what? Great lummox.
My nan used that.
I tell you what I don't like about it, but I didn't like about it when it was young because I heard fat.
Right. But it actually means
it was
a clumsy
or heavy, I didn't like lummox.
It actually means a clumsy or awkward people. Another one which
But you wouldn't say it to a skinny person. It's got a weight. It's got a weight.
No, you're right. You're right. Nan would always say it when one was feeling a bit lazy. She'd go, "You great lummox. You daft dapeth."
Daft apeth, not data.
Dapeth?
No, it's apeth.
My mum daft dapeth.
No, it's daft apeth.
A great one I said the other day, which Maddie had said, "Oh yeah, no, we never use that." Is moronic. You moron.
It's not nice.
But moron isn't moron.
Moron
actually...
is very tough.
Yeah.
I don't like moron. It's too much.
We're going to hear your favourites in a minute.
Mind you, I have met some right morons in my life, and they deserve the bloody word. But I wouldn't bandy it about. I wouldn't say it like really casually. I would say it as a real insult.
But when you meet a moron, you really know you're in the presence of one, don't you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think why you can't say why moron isn't good because I think it does have connotations to mental health.
No, it does.
That's why.
It does.
But what I mean when I say moron is so ignorant. You're just being ignorant. You're just being willfully not understanding anyone else's position.
Blithering idiot was another one.
I love that one.
Blithering idiot. And
that's very Dad's Army. That's Dad's Army. And blithering idiot.
Blithering. Next was, have you heard of this? Let's see. Hang on. I just want to do this one. Has Kay ever used this? Bampot. A Scottish word traced to the 60s, meaning an eccentric or mad person. She'd describe you as that, wouldn't she? A bampot.
Yes.
The 60% of young people said they've never heard it. Oh, a what?
A slattern. You're a slattern.
That's a tart,
which is like slut, but in like messy. My favourite is you're neither use nor ornament. My absolute favourite. You say that with young people and they look at you like you're mad.
Well, I still do. And I think when
Karen McCullum now.
I love it. I love idiot. Say that to anyone who uses the word Karen. Torrent, hi Mark and Nadia. The term Karen comes from the meme of American women as stereotyping someone who complains, hence stop being a Karen. But I do agree with you both.
It is. Yeah. We know exactly what it means, doesn't it? Now it's become so well known. Yeah. It's usually some awful, entitled, often racist person screaming and shouting at somebody else, and that's why it's just not fair.
Yeah, I agree. I think my sister, oh god, yeah, that's not a very good one, is it? Julie the singing nutcase, that's not nice. I think my sister called me a spaz and I hated it.
Yeah, you can't say that now.
Can't say that now, no. Michelle Hofstein, happy birthday, sweetie. But let me make a note and we'll do your birthday at the end. Do you want to read a few others out there?
Yeah. Zoe says, my favourite is dickhead. Oh, wait, it jumped away. I couldn't see the last bit of what you said. Dawny, you're about as useful as a as a handbrake on a rowing boat. I've not heard that one.
That's a good one.
I thought it was going to say as a chocolate pot. Edward Bevington, my partner Karen, would bust balls anyway.
Yes.
Jenny Scam. Now this is an old one.
Do it. Tool.
What does that mean?
Yes.
Does it mean penis?
Oh.
Does it mean dick?
You're a tool.
Because a tool is a handy thing.
Yes.
So it's got to be.
No, but if you're a tool, you're a spare spanner, aren't you? You're a spare. You're not needed. What does that mean, a tool? Because a tool is kind of useful.
You know what they used to say in show business if somebody wasn't pretty enough? A face like a bag of spanners.
Yes, as mad as a bag of frogs. Box of frogs.
No, that's not the same thing.
No,
it's
a
terrible insult.
Yeah, but I know, but it looks like a bag of spanners.
Face like a bag of spanners, they used to say. And then they would reduce it to just spanners.
That's a nice one, Omajan Zadran. I hope you're well. Silly sausage.
Oh, that's so cute. Well, I forgot. I'm going to start using silly sausage.
Silly sausage. I call the girls donuts all the time. I always say you donut. Nincompoop. That's a great one remade.
So is there, come on, give us Gen Z, give us some of your new insults. Let's see. Leo, you're Gen Z.
A face like the back of a bus.
Back of a bus.
It's kind of difficult.
But I never understood that because, right, here's a strange quirk of mine.
Yeah.
Old-fashioned buses, I think, are things of beauty. I love old-fashioned buses.
You wouldn't kiss one though, would you?
Well,
I don't know if I'd want to kiss. If you went to kiss a butt.
But why was it an insult? Because it was so ridiculous because nobody could possibly look like the back of a bus.
Because all the exhaust fumes used to be all over it and it was dirty and it was horrible.
I know. I think it was more like she looks like the back end of a bus, which meant you had a big bum. It wasn't necessarily your face.
That could be it. A large, dirty arse.
Jules, that's a nice one. We call each other lemons. You're a right lemon.
Yeah, I like that one. Erin Bullimore, you bloody spoon.
Leo, I'm 40, like Nadia, but that means you're Gen Z.
Who's 40?
Leo's 40. You look about 22.
Look about 22. Good God.
40?
Space cadet. That's a good one.
Oh, that's a great one.
I love that, you space cadet.
Space cadet.
You muppet. I use that a lot.
I'm so glad I've been reminded of all these wonderful insults. I'm going to try and use them through my day to day.
Yeah, a really affectionate one always is you total fuckwad.
No, that's not nice because you've put fuck. You don't want an actual swear. You've ruined it now. Taking it base.
Sorry, Ross. I did that on purpose to shock you.
But it wasn't. It was just annoying. You Muppet is excellent, Russ. Thank you. Russ has got us back on the straight and narrow.
Yeah, thanks for the Muppet. I love Muppet. I got Dipstick. Good ship lollipop. Dipstick. It's such a horrible one.
So well, of course, in Only Fools and Horses, it was said to Rodney because he was so skinny, wasn't it?
I remember my grand...
honestly, it used to make us laugh every time he said it.
Rodney. And of course, poor old Rodney was the receiver of You Plonker. Yeah. My aunt always used to call me You Plonker. She'd always sort of liken me to Rodney. What was the other one? My granddad.
Rodney? Nothing like Rodney.
My granddad once woke up, and this was really odd. And looking back, I wonder whether he had a little bit of dementia because I remember him waking from his sleep once. This afternoon sleep when I'd be eating mulligatawny.
And he went. I
remember him saying and just looking at me. This frightened me, and it stuck with me, and I've never shared it. He just looked at me and he went, "You dirty toe rag."
Oh.
And I was at his feet playing a game.
Well, that must have been so upsetting.
And he just looked at me with blue eyes that just pierced me. And I was like, I just carried on playing.
I think he was still in the half sleep.
I think he was in half, but that's nice. He was thinking it.
No, I think you just happened to be there. I don't think he thought you were a dirty toe rag.
Oh, what was the other phrase he used to have? When I used to arrive from London, he'd said he looks like a something. It was horrible. It wasn't very nice.
Drowned rat.
No, it looked like a sort of something urchin.
I knew it was going to be urchin.
He would say, "You'd look at here comes the urchin." I'd be like, "What the hell's an urchin?" I thought it was like a crustacean.
Yeah, it's a horrible bird, urchin, wasn't it?
Lee Durran, as useful as tartan paint. Is that one?
Yes, that was off the tongue, Lee.
I'm just trying to think about tartan paint. That's quite existential, that one, Lee. That's taking us
Bonnie Delaney. Couple of Herberts. Yes!
Herberts. Yeah. Oh, gutter snipe, Faith Goodman.
Oh, go on, get it right to the back of the net, Faith.
You scallywag. Anyway, so let's just have a look at...
Natasha, I was called a butter girl.
What does that mean? A butter girl?
What does that mean? That must be a direct translation from Greek, Natasha, right?
Wally. Jane Grimsey. Wally isn't used a lot now, is it? Well, let's have a look. Prat, cad, and plonker are all insults in danger of dying out, new research has shown. The survey asked adults under the age of 28, i.e. the Gen Zers, what terms they're used to, whether they'd ever heard of these. The East Anglian term for a clumsy oaf, lummox, topped the list of those that they hadn't heard, as we just said. Bampot, the Scottish slang for fool, was another. Other traditional insults set to disappear, include toe rag, a despicable person.
Yeah, somebody just said toe rag, actually.
Yeah. Plonker, a person who is inept, and drip. Nan would say you drip.
That's a horrible insult.
Someone who is a pushover. Gen Z jibes are more likely to include calling someone a Karen or meaning an entitled moan. They can't come up with anything else other than Karen, though, can they?
We better move on.
Moving on. Okay, well, there you go. That's Oh no, sorry. Hang on. All right. Oh yeah, I thought I'd got rid of you. Let's talk about UK colleges, UK universities, and Rishi Sunak today is calling in all the chancellors from all the major universities. And why is he doing that? He's calling them in to give them a telling off. And why is he giving them a telling off? Because he doesn't want our universities to become anti-Semitic breeding grounds of hate. Let's just take a breath. What do you think of this, guys? Do you think
we really, really have to clear this up.
And I like the way you're calming things right down. Yeah.
To voice that you are unhappy with your government arming an army that is ruthlessly killing innocent civilians does not make you anti-Semitic.
It really doesn't.
And to all the Jewish people that are putting themselves on the line, and there are so many, reiterating this over and over and over again. Rishi, again, a plonker. Thank you, Grace Ann Martin.
I just thought I'd share it. I saw it come in.
You know, this word is being really... I worry, and there was a fantastic video I was watching the other day with a group of Jewish people that were saying that the real fear that the word is being diluted and diluted and diluted, and it really mustn't be. It's a very important word, and if it's bandied about, also, you look at these kids that and what they're saying. This is what we want from our youth. I feel quite emotional because so often our young people are vilified. They're told they're snowflakes, that they're lazy, that they're this, that. A lot of them are in a lot of discomfort. It's cold. They're in shit tents, and they're doing this because they really believe in something. And to try and use one brush over the whole of them is just wrong.
Shelley Silver, being Jewish, thank you, Shelley, and thank you for all of your contributions, especially under all of our movie stuff. I really love it. Thank you. Being Jewish, this is not anti-Semitic. It's plain and simple. My son and his friends are on Manchester University campus. Good for them.
Oh.
Good for them. I think. Can I just quickly say something about this? This again speaks to, and we haven't really heard from you for a couple of days, so I kind of want to shut up after this. But one of the things that I get really frustrated about is Rishi pops this headline out saying we need to guard against our universities becoming hotbeds of anti-Semitism. We also have organisations such as what's it called? What's the name of this? The CST, which is a dedicated charity, fighting anti-Semitism. And they, in the reports there are, of course, yes, anti-Semitic kind of hate has gone up. so has Islamophobia gone up. The entire crisis has inflamed both sides of the equation equally. And the reason it's equal, and I think the thing that's getting really dangerous here, once again, is what we're actually seeing here is a repackaging and a repurposing of the oldest trick in this whole handbook of this conflict, which is to say that any criticism, in this instance, actually criticism of our government and our institutions in their culpability in Israeli policy. Because if you get into the nitty gritty, we actually supply arms technology for a very small percentage, but it's still significant. But our universities do have investments and involvements with other major Israeli kind of organizations. Now, this is just another, as I say, repackaging of and conflating of the idea that to be critical of this government or Israel or the killing of innocents is anti-Semitic. Trot on. We've got past this. However much you try and repurpose this, it's easy for Nadia went out the other day with a keffiyeh, and she felt unsafe. We were talking about the guy in Eurovision Song Contest who was wearing one on his hand yesterday. I'm not saying that you didn't feel unsafe, but feeling unsafe is as much about the individual as it is about what the reality of the world is out there. Maybe a lot of, I don't know if I'm not speaking obviously on behalf of any Jewish people, but I would have thought if I was Jewish, I would be able to pause and think, actually, am I feeling unsafe because of the hostility towards Israel and their policy? Therefore, this is something I need to double down on criticizing, rather than people actually being angry with me. Do you know what I mean? It's a much more complicated thing than just saying everything's anti-Semitic. If we feel unsafe, it's happening. It doesn't mean it's happening.
It's important. And I can understand why people on both sides feel unsafe. You know, I can really, I feel unsafe sometimes with some of the stuff that is said to me because I am so against, the killing of thousands upon thousands upon thousands of innocent civilians. I get shit. I get shit and I get it. And I get it. And I understand. People say to me on a daily basis, oh God, aren't you brave? Like speaking out. And I think, well, first of all, I don't think I'm brave. I think I've just got no choice because I can't just not say anything. But there's something in that they know that it is dangerous to speak out. So I get that being Jewish, you are going to feel something because you're feeling that there is, that something is, is scary and bubbling and people are going to have opinions that they might not have had opinions. But I'm scared because of that, but it's not because actually anything has happened to me.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? So,
and
I think that's a good point. Like when Rishi whips up hate and division, ruling by dividing is a disgrace. Try and bring people together. I would try there and say, well, on the whole, what we're seeing here is a lot of camaraderie, that sweet boy on Middle Eastern Eye, the Jewish boy at Cambridge University, showing around the camp, and try and bring those people together. Surely university, I never went to university, is about people sharing different ideas. And if you've got Jewish people and you've got Muslims and you've got Christians and you've got black and you've got white and you've got every kind of person in a university coming together, discussing and disagreeing, shouldn't that be applauded? I mean, they're not using guns and violence, are they?
No, and I'd go a step further. I think what you have to stop and pause and ask is that, and this is what I was talking to Nat, we were talking about it this morning before we did this. What's happening in the mainstream media, certainly in the majority of the right wing, Israeli sympathetic, government supporting media, which let's face it is the majority of it, is if a headline is, if a leader says, and these are anti-Semitic, this is leading to hate, that headline is popped everywhere. People read that and believe that to be the truth. And then they believe that to be the state of the situation. And then if you are Jewish, or if you are conversely Muslim, and you read that Islamophobic attacks are on the increase, you will begin to feel put upon, not necessarily by what you've experienced, but by what you're reading and the propaganda. This is all propaganda. And it's important for Jewish and Muslim and Christian and everyone to look past these headlines. Just a final point on this that I want to make. It speaks back to this idea of, when certain individuals who've been extraordinarily outspoken in their support of the Zionist kind of attack and assault and have supported and justified and argued for an aggression that has gone way beyond any form of notional self-defense whatsoever. when you are one of those people who does it in such a sort of blood-curdlingly hate-fueled fashion, where you don't acknowledge one single life that has gone on one side, but you are only valuing the situation on the other, when you've articulated that with such sort of vicious, horrid hate in your blood, if someone then is anti-you, they're not anti-Semitic. They're anti-you.
Yeah.
And I think Netanyahu would do good to bear that in mind. I think a number of people in this country who have really nailed their colours to the mast in a public fashion would do well to know this isn't actually about your faith. Don't big up your faith here. This isn't about this. This is about you.
It's like the chap in America, I can never remember his name, Congressman,
John
who walks
Ride.
around.
Could you pop that comment? Sorry, just John Ride. Could you pop your comment again? Repeat it, because I want to pull it up, but I want to move down the order. Sorry.
Who walks around in an IDF uniform? Did you see him day before yesterday? I think they need to go in there and smash them all, finish them all off, finish them.
Is this in the UK?
In America, and it's like, you know, Ben Gavir saying, you know, cut them, we'll give them nothing, no electricity, no food, no water, no this, no. Now, we were fans of, God, what's his name? Keir Starmer, before he said it's totally fine to turn off water. And then we just didn't like him because we didn't like what he stood for. And that is the fucking difference, not because of where you've come from or what your religion
and just
is.
Quickly, I just want to pull this comment in. I've not seen your comment before, John Ride. Thank you for this. Someone else referenced it. For anyone who thinks Keir's Labour would be any better, remember what he did to Jeremy Corbyn and Rebecca Long-Bailey. Genuinely don't know who to vote for anymore.
We're the same, John.
Now, John, you bring this up, and I don't want to go into it in much detail, but the idea that Labour are tickety-boo about embracing, what's her face? Natalie Elphicke, who herself has had a dubious track record on issues such as abortion, domestic abuse, etc. The frenzy and the relish with which the Labour Party now just wants to accept anyone from the Tories like this is an achievement. The Labour Party is absolutely defunct.
Discernment.
Absolutely defunct. If being a Labour Party in power is all about shifting your emphasis so extraordinarily towards the mainstream that it ticks all the right boxes for all the wrong people, then that is not a party. That's just not a party. And as I've said many times before, Keir Starmer and the rest of the Labour Party, because we don't expect anything different from the Tories. That's the thing. The Tories don't surprise you when they're sort of like they are. But with the Labour Party, I'd really love, given that Keir Starmer had so much to say about the St George Cross change on the England shirt, I'd like him to have printed on his shirt who's sponsoring him, just like his football team, Arsenal have to, and all other football teams.
Who is sponsoring
just put it here, just brought to you by. You know, drives me mad watching this. And one final point on this: Keir isn't doing well for any other reason other than the Tories are absolutely fucking disastrous.
That's the state of our politics, isn't it? We lurch.
Oh, it makes me so angry.
From one pile of banoonies to another. Sorry for all the good ones, though, because there are many good politicians.
Absolutely.
There are. And it must be so frustrating.
So just sticking with Gaza just for a minute before we move on to baby Reindeer, I just want to say Biden has today said that he's going to, it's threatening that if Israel goes ahead with the Rafah invasion, he's going to stop some, not all, some arms supplies to Israel. Now,
what a pathetic game they're playing.
Absolutely.
And I'm sorry, they're already in the east of Rafah, and the casualties are horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. The videos that I saw yesterday, that I always say I don't post because I don't want to be that.
Sorry?
I don't want to force people to see these things, but to pretend that Rafah isn't already happening anyway is just a joke.
But this is my problem with the Rafah invasion. I don't think they're not stupid. They're not going to invade in a you know, what is the definition of invasion?
They've invaded already, as far as I'm concerned. How can we say they haven't invaded?
Well, this is my point. So
they've taken the crossing, they've gone in, they're bombing houses, they've stopped aid, and they were killing people randomly.
But we haven't seen lines of soldiers marching down the street, so it's not an invasion. This is what I mean. This is bullshit. This is smoke and mirrors. This is Biden needing to sound like this for a certain fucking
to try and shut
tank.
The students up. Does he think they're bloody stupid?
Yeah, he needs to minimise that. That doesn't look good.
Does he think that they're just going to listen to his speeches? Yeah. Or does it not occur to him they might look a little deeper than that?
So this is a load of bullshit. But just to give you a little sense of one of the politicians in the Knesset in Israel, this was their response to the idea that America might stop sending some
very hard to watch.
Some weaponry. So this is a minister or a politician in Israel's response to the idea that he might stop sending some arms.
מאיימת שלא תיתן לנו טילים מדויקים. וואלה, יש לי חדשות לארצות הברית. יש לנו טילים לא מדויקים. ויש לנו את הזכות להתגונן. אז אולי במקום להשתמש בטיל מדויק ולהוריד חדר ספציפי, או בניין ספציפי, אני אשתמש בטילים הלא מדויקים שלי, ואני פשוט אמוטט 10 בניינים. 10 בניינים. 10 בניינים. זה מה שאני אעשה.
Just a little addendum that someone needs to kind of draw her attention to. That's what they've already been doing.
Has she not seen any of the videos and photographs of Gaza that is flattened? The whole conversation all the way through this has been they have the most sophisticated systems in the world, right? They can find one person in an apartment and a missile can go in and get that person, but they've chosen to do the whole building over and over and over again. So really,
they move after dark, says Edward Bevington. Absolutely right. It's curious that at the point that Biden makes the first soundings for probably all the wrong reasons that he's possibly not going to, and this is the thing, the caveat, we might not send possibly this type of thing while signing off on $46 billion of aid to this one purpose. Of the response, the overwhelming response, as I read in the Telegraph today, is the Israeli government has said they're disappointed. I'll tell you what, what about the rest of the world's disappointment? What about the rest of the world's disappointment?
About humanity's disappointment.
Yeah.
Guys, could follow somebody, an account called @BT News. There was such a great post there yesterday. It's about 3 minutes long, and you will be fascinated because what it does is it lists all the multiple times that actually Hamas have offered the hostages back in exchange for stopping the bombing. And it's, it's all well sourced and everything at BT Newsroom. Just have a look at it.
I did also kind of infer yesterday, it's kind of curious, isn't it? There was a story, I think I placed it on my Insta stories yesterday, 48 Bedouin houses knocked down in an area or within a community on the Israeli side. I think it might be called the Gaza envelope. I think there's a particular piece of land. So they demolished 48 homes, claiming that they'd been sort of, built illegally, removing all of the Arabs who settled there. The local Arab spokespeople, speaking for themselves, said, we can't even begin to comprehend this because we were supportive of those Israeli families that were targeted in the October 7th. So this is an Arab community on what's officially the Israeli side of things, but they're in there. They've been removed, 48 homes. It feels to me, and many of those Arabs ended up burning their own homes because they couldn't bear the thought of their homes being taken over by the Israelis. The Israelis came in with trucks and took their furniture for repurposing somewhere else. I find those little details some of the most chilling and most insulting. And I begin to wonder whether, and I don't know what you think, guys, I'm beginning to wonder whether all of this in the West Bank and the constant increasing and prodding and tightening and prodding and taking is about a sort of desire to provoke some kind of new occurrence so that Netanyahu can then kind of reconfigure his kind of position and kind of go after that. This is what we're watching here is just watch the machinations of Netanyahu. He has a vested interest in holding Rafah as this final moment, but he also doesn't want this final moment to run out, because if there's any moment where he can say, we've done it, we've succeeded, that's when the curtains start to close in on him. And
somebody said something, the perfect line the other day, if a ceasefire brings an end to Netanyahu's leadership and Biden can't survive without a ceasefire.
Yeah.
But also, Biden is stuck between a rock and a hard place because of the huge amount of money that he receives. So it's a right royal mess. And in between are some of the poorest people on earth being squished like they're nothing, like they're ants, like they're not human beings. If anybody saw the interview yesterday or day before yesterday with Piers Morgan asked a probing question over and over again from an Israeli spokesperson. I thought I'd gone to sleep and landed on another fucking planet.
It was very good.
And he told this guy was able to tell him exactly how many Hamas that they had killed, but had not a single idea as to how many civilians have been killed. It was the most cringing interview, wasn't it? At one point, there was a whole I have to say, Piers was amazing where he just allowed the silence.
I've said it once, I've said it before, I'll say it again about Piers. When he's on the money, he's on the money. When he's applying his brain to both sides, and of course you've got to apply. This is not about just hearing what you want to hear. But he was genuinely holding up an Israeli representative to account and was demolishing their lack of specificity.
But the fact that he had not a clue how many people, and Piers kept saying, but you're so specific about how many Hamas you've killed. Why are you not specific about how many civilians? And he was sat there just looking like that. And of course, anyone watching it is screaming because it's irrelevant to him.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's totally, it showed, I thought it was the most brilliant example of actually what
and just in
done very well and let me talk.
I have, haven't I?
No, go on. You're impassioned. Go on. What was it?
Sorry, I thought you'd finished.
No, go on.
I also thought. I thought. Oh, in the spirit of just fairness and balance, I think it's really important to say that a number of the Arab nations should hang their heads in shame.
Absolutely.
Hang their heads in absolute shame.
Don't get me started on that. We haven't got enough time.
This isn't about just taking it. Lots of people say, why don't they just get taken in? The reason you can't do that, they won't go back. That's not the point. That's not the point.
You don't just shove somebody out of their country and say, go. Imagine if somebody came here now, just all of you just go over to France. Why? Yeah. They don't want to. Also, Egypt can't cope with a couple of million people just plonked in their desert. They can't do that, but there's a lot more they could be doing. That's for sure.
Exactly. Okay, just finally sticking with Piers Morgan for a minute. He is to interview the woman thought to be Baby Reindeer's real life Martha tonight.
Well, he is. It's actually being promoted as the real life, isn't it?
Yes.
I don't think it says thought to be.
Well, interestingly, at a select committee yesterday, one of the Netflix, I think there was a select committee about streamers' responsibility and duty of care, etc. This topic did come up, and I think
real life Martha, it's promoted.
And I think a representative for Netflix sort of tried to sort of say, we did all the due diligence. We can't speak to what the members of the public can do, and Will you be watching? Will anyone be watching the interview? Presumably, it's on his. Is it on his uncensored account on YouTube?
Yeah, and look at this. This is on his Twitter. He's got a photo of him and her. And then he said, the real life Martha from Baby Reindeer breaks cover and gives me her first TV interview about the smash hit Netflix show. Fiona Harvey wants to have her say and set the record straight. Is she a psycho stalker?
Is that what he says?
He actually says that.
Wow.
Find out tomorrow on Piers Uncensored.
Well, so Piers could end up being...
Oh, I don't like that at all.
Piers could end up having his... Well, anyway. I suppose the question we want to ask, without going into too much detail, is will you be watching it? I think it's on his Piers Uncensored, is it? On YouTube. Yeah. On YouTube. I think there's an awkward desire to want to watch it.
He will have an absolutely massive audience.
I think, intriguing. Apparently she's harassing a journalist. Oh, right. Okay. So, the story is evolving. I mean, I did say before, hi, Christopher Cundall. I hope you were sending you lots of love, Chris.
Yeah, I hope you're doing okay.
Yeah, big love. And I suppose the only thing I would like to say about this just briefly is the way in which the story, in a sense, there is definitely a sort of documentary to be made, really, about it, the making, and the posthumous kind of all this kind of stuff that's going on too. Jenny J, morbid curiosity. I think you're right. I think all of us have kind of got that. Possibly watching from behind
It's interesting because no television program would do that.
No. Absolutely.
They just wouldn't. They'll all be desperately wanting to, but there wouldn't really be any official rules and regulations on that. But I think it's just a sense of decency around it.
I think it's a legal quagmire. I mean, in terms of duty of care, it's incredibly complicated.
Yeah.
Incredibly complicated. Anyway, all right, guys. Oh, I had a birthday, didn't I? Let me just make a note. Michelle Hofstein. We're going to wish you happy birthday.
1, 2, 3. Happy birthday, Michelle. Happy birthday, Michelle. Happy birthday, dear Michelle
Hofstein.
Happy birthday to you.
Or Hofstein, sorry. Guys, have a lovely day. Lots and lots will be landing later. And
check out BT News. They've got some really interesting, there's no horrifying videos there or anything, just really interesting, properly sourced information. You might like it.